Hey everyone, my name is Rohit Singh and I welcome you all to my channel Developer Geeks Hub. Well, this is the playlist of C++ programming language, and in this video we will see what are functions. And the objective of this video will be to understand what are different syntax for functions. We will understand what are parameters and what are arguments, and we will practically see in the C++ compiler how you can create multiple functions in a program. In the real world, if I give you an example of any company, they would see that how you create a function. And oftenly in in placement programs, when you are writing your when you are in the examinations of assessment, right? So what they often do is that they give you the whole code and they will give you a chunk of function that within which you have to write the program. So that's the reason functions are very important. Now let's see and let's understand how a function works. Well guys, now let's see how does a function works. Basically there are two parts of a function. One is the data type that a function is returning what kind of data type, and then you write a function name, and within this brackets you add parameters, that on the basis of what parameters you are applying the function. And then you have a body or some the task that you actually want to do. You will write the algorithms within this block, and then after you will return the value here. So in the previous video we saw how the break statement, continue statement and the go to statement works, but we skipped the return statement. Basically returns works somewhat like this. The whole body will work until the whole body will execute until and unless it will reach the return. Once it reaches the return statement, it will return the value and this whole block will be terminated. So this is what the basic syntax is, guys. Now let's see where you have to initialize, where you have to make this function. Now let's create a integer type of function which sums or which adds two number, and within this number we will add parameters like int a, which would be the first number, int b, which would be the second number, and then we will return a plus b, right? Even you can expand the code, like you can initialize a int c that will add a plus b, and instead of returning a plus b you will return c. You can do that. Or this nothing, everything would work. And in the main function what you would do is that you will say if it's returning a value, so it means it is returning a number. So you have to create a int num, right? Then after you will pass some arguments like 22 and 12 and 23 example. Basically this is called the parameters, and these which are going inside in the main function, they are called the arguments. And you can say that arguments can change but parameters can't, right? Now basically what happens is that this 12 and 23 will be saved according to a and b according to the sequence. Then after 12 plus 23 will be adding and will be saved in the c variable, right? Since this is an assignment operator basically works on right side to the left side. We never say that c is equal to a plus b. We read it like a plus b is saved to c, right? And then after we are returning this value of c, and here we will print the value of num, or we can say, let's add some text, sum of two number is super. Now let's try to run this and let's see what is the output. Super. You can see it is printing that the sum of two numbers is 35. Now we have written this, or we have made this function above the int main. Let's cut this and let's paste it here. Now let's try to run this. You can see the sum, it's giving an error. The reason is because if it is initial the function the whole compiler basically works on top to bottom, right? When it comes to here, this line, it will see in the above lines that this sum function is not initialized. So what we can do is that we can write this is called as the function definition, right? We can write like something like this. We will write int sum, int, and then int, and then semicolon. We will just say, this is called as function definition. It is defining a function that it is taking two integer number and it is returning another int. You can see it is printing in the similar fashion. Now let's try to change the value to float, and we will change this to float again. Sorry, this has to be int, this has to be float. Then after, if I write a float, then let's see what happens. Nothing, there's no change because yeah. Let's try this. Well guys, you can see it is okay. I have to change this to float to. Super. Still it's not changing. I have no clue. Okay, what's happening is that here there is 12.34, right? It in the parameter it is given as int. That's the reason it is taking only the 12 the first decimal part of the number. So if we change this to float, now it should print 35 point some numbers. Okay, I don't know why it is printing. Okay, we have to change the definition part here too. Yeah, super. I think now, yeah, you can see it is printing 35.34. So guys, this is how you can change the data type of any function. Now let's, instead of float, we will write void. Void is basically valueless, right? So since you can see it will return and nothing, right? That's the reason. If it is returning nothing, so why you are equating this to this whole function, right? So we will remove this and we will remove this too, and instead of here, right, we will write void, and we will convert this to, okay, we will not convert. What we will do is that instead of returning C, we will print the value of C here itself. What we will do is that we will just call it by giving the numbers inside. That's it. We have given the arguments and we are just calling it. This is just the calling part. We are not we are not saving the return value to someone else, some other variable, because it is not even returning anything, right? It is just being called. That's it. Now you can see it is printing the number, that is 315 whatsoever it is. So guys, this is how a function works. Now basically there are two types of passing the arguments, right? These are the arguments, right? So we will understand what are the different types and how we can pass values to the function. Now let's remove this and let's add this. We'll cut here and we'll paste this here. Now okay, so now let's say that the we will initialize int a is equal to 12 and b is equal to 13. So what we will do is that we will call the function and we will pass a comma b. That's it. Now let's see what would be the answer. You can see it is printing 25 correctly, right? Because 12 plus 13 is 25. Now what if we this is called as the actual parameter. Actual parameter. because the values are actually passed in the function. Well, this is the parameter, and the actual it is not necessary that you have to pass A and B. You can pass C or any other alphabet, C or D. It will print the same thing. Now the thing is that it will in this function it will assume that the A is nothing but C and the B is nothing but the value of D, right? Now this is called as the actual parameter, where you pass the values. Now there is something called as the formal parameter, where we pass the address. Basically, if I say that C is a variable, right, and it is having a number called 12, that is a type of integer. Now in the memory, where does the C is saved? If we have to access that data of the address, we often say that ampersand of C. Well, this is called as the address of C, right? Basically, if I give you an example that in a house, you are a person who is living there. Well, you are the data and the location of that house is the address. So if I come to your location, even I can access you. It means if even I can access that data. So if I have to access the values, I can pass the address in the parameters. Yes, you can see it's working fine. So first we had to change the data type to float, because only the data will work properly. Then we have passed the address of the variables here, right? So the address is working here, and it will access the data within that address, and it will add both the datas and the address, and it will save in the variable C, and it will print the value of C, that is nothing but 25. So guys, this is how a formal and a actual parameter works, which is one of the very important things. It is often asked in GATE examination and other examinations too.
Well, that's all from my side, guys. If you do find this video informative, like, share and subscribe to our channel if you are new to this. Well, the next video will be on the topic of overloads, or we often say it as a function overloading and function templates. Well, stay tuned and we will see you in the next video.